How the heck are you guys? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to the channel. Let's get right into it. Should you summon for Diaochan? Now, Diaochan, in my opinion, is the best non-lord hero in the game. Full stop. Not much of a conversation, honestly. That's actually how I feel. She is the most usable hero across the most varied and broad selection of content in this entire game. That being said, I do think a lot of people should skip her banner. Now, I'm not saying everyone. Tons of people should still pull for her. But a lot of people, depending on their current resource situation, saved summon situation, current Daochan situation, definitely should skip. So let's get into it. Before I do, I really want to say, if you like what we're doing here on the channel, do me a favor and subscribe. It is the easiest, freest thing you can do to help us out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, give the video a big thumbs up. All right, let's dive in. What makes Diaochan so freaking good? Simply put, inspiration might be the most important buff in this entire game. Very likely it is, and she is the best, most consistent source of it in the entire game. Now, does she give the most inspiration, in terms of sheer quantity of attack that she's sharing? No. But does she have the best combination of uptime and tons of strength in inspiration? Yes. Does she have a completely brilliant range once you have her A1? Absolutely yes. And does she have a lot of additional functionality with a very underrated passive here that gives penetration, 20% when skilled up to 2 allies, as well as a very underrated second form when she's in white mode. Come on, baby, switch for me. Well, the black mode's the inspiration mode. Here's the white mode, where she's a pretty dang mediocre healer, but a phenomenal damage reducer and support unit when it comes to keeping your team alive. Very quick anecdote, and I am hoping to prepare this video for you guys. I'd like to think this weekend, otherwise next week. I recently did a Gear Raid 2 24 takeover on an account that had never even beaten Gear Raid 21, I think. So we climbed 4 stages in one day. But what's so cool about that is he did not have Sadie and he did not have Aelin. And actually, I used Diaochan as my Aelin. She can't heal like Aelin, but she actually has even better normal damage mitigation. It is very strong, her damage reductions. If I can pull them up over here, yes, they start at 10%, but they go all the way up to 20. And like I said, her range at A1 is phenomenal. So speaking of A1, let's talk about awakenings and which ones you should go for, and if you already have her, if you should summon. Let's actually take one step further back and talk about people who do not have Daochan. If you do not have Daochan, this is the most aggressive must-summon banner of all time for you. And it might be the biggest must-summon banner of all time for the entire future you have in Watcher of Realms. Now, why am I saying that? Well, Daochan is guaranteed. She is a limited exclusive unit, which means she is hard guaranteed by your 200th summon on her specific banner, on this Moonlit Invocation. Now, what exactly does that mean? If you have not pulled her by your 200th summon, you will get her at number 200. She is so good, you need her. Please, somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. But seriously, go get her. She is required, I would say. She is completely phenomenal. And I'm saying it might be the most important banner ever for you, not just because she's so good, but because this is her second rerun ever. It's the 3rd time total they've run this specific banner, the Moonlit Invocation banner featuring Daochan and Estrid. It is actually the 5th time she's been available because they've had 2 other limited selector banners. So for all these reasons, I don't think they're rerunning her again after this anytime soon. I really don't. Like, I'd say at the absolute soonest, it would be 6 months from now or something. Very likely it'd be next Valentine's Day. For all we know, they won't run her for over a year, right? They're probably going to do 2 more limited selector banners this year. So they'll probably do one for the anniversary and one for Christmas, New Year's time. So that will be your opportunity. I don't think they're rerunning her again anytime soon. So if you don't have her, please go get her. Likewise, if you have her, but she's A0, bless your heart, I don't know how that's possible, because her first awakening is the best investment for an unpolished soulstone in this entire game. Maybe you've never gotten one. Another reason to bless your heart. I'll pour one out for you. But Daochan, you need her A1. She's still great without it, but her A1 is so transformative, you absolutely need it to get that increased range. So if you have her and you don't have her A1, This is equally important. Go get that extra copy, that first dupe, and go get your A1. You're saving yourself an unpolished soulstone. What could be a better investment of your summons than a future unpolished soulstone you get to hold on to for a later date? I mean, that's enormous. So people in those buckets, it's essential that you do it. Now, should you go for her A1 if you don't have her? Here I would say, unless you have a ton of summons saved, I mean over 1,000 summons saved, or you're just a very big spender and you don't care about money and you're happy to invest in the game, if you're not in one of those two camps, I really wouldn't pull for the extra copy. You will get an unpolished soulstone, I would think, sooner rather than later. They come for free during events about twice a year. There are several rewards and achievements in this game that can earn you them. There's one from the Odyssey quests, for example. You'll get that first unpolished soulstone. I would say you could wait. And the reason I would say not to gamble beyond the first copy, assuming you're trying to go from not having her to getting base copy and first dupe, so going from nothing to A1, is it's a very, very big risk. You know, the second you get that first copy, yes, this banner persists. It's still Daochan on rate up with Estrid, but it just becomes a normal 20x banner. And anyone that's ever been hunting something they really wanted on a 20x banner, I am sure has experienced the horrible feeling of pulling endlessly and never getting it. And that easily could happen to you. Or you could hit her in 100 summons, so that's why it's a risk. It's a gamble. You're welcome to do it. But you have to understand that you could easily miss. The first Daochan banner they ever did, February of last year, Valentine's Day 2025, I had a lot of summons saved, and I pulled 1,450 times on her banner before I got that second copy. So I got my guarantee, and I pulled over 1,200 additional summons before I got that second copy. Because after that first one, it is really not guaranteed. And I've had other banners on other limiteds with even worse luck. I pulled almost 2,000 trying to get a dupe of Kagiri once that never even came home. And I'm sure other people have had terrible luck too. So just be prepared for that. The other reason not to go too crazy, and this is going to shift into the second half of the conversation for people who already have A1 Daochan or higher, is it worth going hard in this banner, certainly beyond guarantee, with everything else going on this weekend? And I think absolutely not. After her A1, her awakenings are not nearly as strong as you think. The only particularly relevant one for a breadth of content is going to be her A3, and even then, it is a great luxury awakening. It is not a must have. And when we have an incredible banner this weekend using the same currency, your rare summons and your diamonds, with this special Invocation of Spirits banner 20x rate up on Valise and the brand new OP unit Rosalia, I don't think you can afford to do so. So if you have a decent amount of summons saved, there is no reason not to go for one guaranteed copy if you have A1 or higher, unless you have A5, because then what are you doing? Why would you do that? You already have A5. Unless you already have A5, but you used a couple soul stones, so then maybe you could reset one day and get the soul stones back. But frankly, I don't think people like that should do it. But if you have A1, A2, A3, A4, you might want to still go for it just because this is a guarantee, and then you can do pity manipulation. If you're curious about how pity manipulation works, I'll put a video in the description of this video, and I will be streaming a huge pulls party on Friday where I will do so much pity manipulation, and you can see exactly how it works with your own eyes firsthand. So if you have got a nice amount of summons, I would say 350 or more summons, then probably it is worth your while to go for that guarantee, even if you already have A1 or higher. But if you have less than that, if you have like just 200 summons, just 300 summons, I know that's a decent amount, but you get the point I'm making, and you already have her at least A1, I would say you might want to skip it altogether. The A2 is not what you think it is. I did some testing. Yes, it was only one run versus one run, but before I A2'd my Daochan, I compared everything at A1 to A2, and you can see these increases and actually decreases are effectively variance-based rounding errors. I mean, she barely moved the needle at A2. Yes, she's an inspiration hero. Yes, the A2 gives her an additional 300 base attack, but the actual additional attack she shares after that awakening is achieved is not what you think, and it really barely moves the needle. The A3 is very nice. Personally, I am going for the A3 this weekend, but I also have a ton of summons, like an absolute boatload of summons. But this is like the final very strong awakening. This awakening boosts her passive when she's in both forms. So when she's in the white form, her reductions are increased by 5%. So instead of reducing physical damage and magic damage by 20%, those reductions become 25%. That is very strong, but most importantly is the boost she gets when she's in her black mode. When she's in Song of Sorrow, she's now going to be able to lend penetration to 1 additional unit. So instead of giving a 20% penetration boost to 2 units, it's now 3 non-healer allies. This is great. It's most relevant, I would say, in the arena, but all in all, in a lot of content, especially PvE content, it still is not going to move the needle the way you think it will. Do I think you need it? No. Do I think you should go get it if you can? Yes. But if going for this and getting that guarantee is going to restrict you from properly going in on this banner and getting your first copy of Rosalia or your first copy or Important Awakenings for Valise, I don't think you can justify doing that. This is a very, very, very good banner. The final thing I got to talk about is apparently a really, really good banner featuring Neza is rumored for the following weekend. That is a whole extra wrinkle we're going to cover tomorrow. I obviously can't talk much about it because it's literally just an unsubstantiated rumor, but there's a lot of stuff to weigh out. So if you're at all on the fence about this banner and you already have A1 Diaochan, you might not need that guarantee. So if you have a specific question or a specific situation you'd like my input on, you can comment below. But all in all, I think tons of people should go for this just because she's absolutely elite and pity manipulation is so powerful. But I think a lot of people probably should skip too if they're tight on summons and they already have A1 Diaochan. Because the A2 is very, very mediocre. It's a huge disappointment. And then only really the A3 has major value, but even then that is not required value that she needs to be relevant. At A0, she's already phenomenal. At A1, she's literally a goddess. Then you're good to go. So I hope this helped you out a lot. I do think some people should skip. Obviously, I think a lot of people shouldn't, but those are just my 2 cents. These pop-ups are out of control. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Fastidious. Subscribe to the channel, share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.